Tomorrow brings a generational experience to the state of Texas, a total eclipse. On the heels of that, literally within hours afterwards, the beginning of a multi day severe weather event with the potential for big hail, wind, tornadoes, and flooding. Let's talk about the very busy Texas weather forecast in this Sunday morning edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning. It is Sunday morning, the 7th of April, 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Baldy-in-Chief David Reimer. A very busy forecast, not only because of a historical experience tomorrow, but a lot of severe weather potential as well. Unfortunately, Mother Nature couldn't just let us have nice things, a nice clear forecast, a nice easy forecast, and allow us to enjoy the experience. No, we're getting to juggle both the eclipse and the aftermath of the eclipse, which in this case isn't really related to the eclipse at all, but some of the impacts might be if we end up having gridlocked roads, severe thunderstorms with hail, wind, and the potential for tornadoes. Let's just get into it. Let's start with the eclipse. Let's talk about the latest cloud cover forecast using overnight data. Now, this is a blend of multiple sources of data that inputs into a singular graphic the percentage of cloud cover for 1 p.m. Central Time Monday. Now, if this is correct, Arkansas is clear, the Boot Hill of Missouri is mostly clear, southern Illinois, Indiana, northwest Ohio, up into portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, New England. Texas, not so much. Unfortunately, trends continue to point towards at least the Edwards Plateau, the hill country, central Texas, and North Texas, south of Interstate 20, being enveloped by both upper and low-level cloud cover, which will greatly limit or prevent viewing the eclipse directly, though the impacts from the cloud cover and the eclipse itself will result in a couple hours of night-like darkness, especially during the totality. Now, let's take a closer look here. We're going to zoom in. Again, here's the Edwards Plateau, south central Texas, the hill country. Higher the numbers here, the more cloud cover, the higher percentage of cloud cover is expected. I can't totally rule out a couple breaks here, but it's definitely not going to be good viewing conditions, most likely. Now, as we take a look at North Texas, Central Texas, the Arklatex, we do note a couple changes compared to yesterday. Notice these numbers for North Texas, the Arklatex, have actually decreased a bit. Yes, they are still high. Yes, we're going to have low-level clouds quickly streaming north, especially by early afternoon south of Interstate 20, maybe north. And yes, we're going to have upper-level cloud cover in all likelihood. But there have been some encouraging signs. This is a cloud cover thickness graphic. This shows a different way of looking at it. Yes, cloud cover total, but how much of the solar radiation is blocked by the cloud cover. And in this case, this is helpful in determining, will we actually be able to see the darn thing? You can see the numbers are way above 60%, Waco, Killeen, all the way down through the hill country, the Edwards Plateau, meaning it's going to be blocked. You're not going to see it directly. If numbers are over 40%. Now, under 30% generally means the sun may be visible through breaks in the clouds or thin upper-level cloud cover. That does include now portions of North Texas and the Arklatex. And there is some high-resolution data, one of which we'll look at here in just a moment, that does suggest we may actually have breaks in the clouds across portions of North Texas and the Arklatex, especially north of Interstate 20, from the DFW Metroplex up towards Paris. Now, I want to be abundantly clear. The probability at this point for any one location in those regions I just mentioned of actually being able to have a good viewing experience is between 15 to 25%, which is higher than it was yesterday. But for those of you not traveling to the other side of the country for this, there is now some hope that at least portions of the area may actually be able to see this. But even though I'm about to show you high-resolution weather model guidance, I want to be abundantly clear in saying that model guidance is not detailed enough, accurate enough, to pinpoint exact cloud locations 36 hours out. It's going to struggle even hours away. So this literally will be a wait-and-see situation looking at live satellite data tomorrow morning. But there is at least more hope than there was yesterday. So let's take a look. This is going to be the high-res rapid refresh model. Now, I'm going to actually completely stop this here. Notice 6 a.m. Monday, low-level clouds. Edwards Plateau, Hill Country, Central Texas, the Brazos Valley, Southeast Texas. That is not expected to change. Those are going to be streaming north tomorrow morning towards Interstate 20 in North Texas, East Texas, Northeast Texas. The cloud cover you're seeing across Texoma, North Texas, the Arklatex here, those are upper-level clouds. Thinner upper-level clouds, probably. Now, let's keep going. 7, 8, 9. Now, here's 9 a.m. Notice this model actually does break off some of those clouds. Notice that low-level cloud cover up at this point towards Stephenville, to Hillsborough, to Canton and Terrell, to Paris. Bit of a break, though. Now, it doesn't matter at 9, 10 a.m., but here's 1 o'clock, around eclipse time, for at least the complete totality. We're going to have several hours before and after where, the process is increasing or decreasing, but the key point here is take a look. This model does show pockets of partly cloudy to mostly clear skies in a narrow corridor of North Texas and Northeast Texas. That at least gives us some hope that we may be able to have a few spots of more favorable viewing conditions tomorrow. But again, do not expect this model to have the exact locations of these clouds down 100%, and it is entirely possible, if not probable, it's wrong, and we may just have clouds anyway. But it's at least a little bit of optimism, a little bit of hope we can keep an eye on. And that's why we're going to be doing 2 videos today. We'll do another one this afternoon after the 12 Zulu and 18 Zulu model data rolls in. So let's just say between 3 to 5 p.m. we'll try to have that video out. Now, notice at 1 p.m. we're going to transition now from Eclipse Talk to Stormy Talk. We have scattered showers, probably a few thunderstorms starting to develop, the coastal plain, southeast Texas, east Texas. That low-level cloud cover is an indication of very high amounts of tropical-like moisture, surface dew point values in the upper 60s to low 70s, reminiscent of August. That is going to be a very unstable air mass that's going to be moving north with a warm front tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. The radar image you see now is much quieter than we expect by 5 p.m. And here, in fact, I'll show you. We're going to go through it step by step. 2, 3 o'clock. Notice activity increasing. 4, the initial development of what could be supercellular thunderstorms across the Brazos Valley, East Texas. In this environment, the potential for these to be severe is decent. By severe, I mean storms could be, well, the definition of a severe storm. Quarter-size hail or larger, that's 1 inch in diameter or larger. Wind gusts 58 miles an hour higher, and or tornadoes. Now, as we go through 5, 6, scattered thunderstorms continuing to increase. It may be a bit of a messy convective mode tomorrow, meaning we may see clusters of storms. We may see individual discrete to semi-discrete supercell thunderstorms in an environment that will be supportive of severe weather. Notice that as we continue into tomorrow evening, most of this activity is going to be moving northeast. Here's 9 o'clock. It's a mess across the Arklatex, parts of North Texas, East Texas, with severe thunderstorms underway in the proximity of a warm front and the open warm sector. The dry line is located way back in West Texas, which itself is igniting thunderstorms across northwest Texas into Oklahoma. Also, likely supercellular or a complex with severe weather likely. 10, 11, 12. You can see this keeps on going all evening. 1 a.m. Tuesday, we got storms in Oklahoma. We got storms in northeast Texas. We got storms in Arkansas. So, now that I've talked about the fact that we may have some eclipse hope here, we really want folks to remember that you need to pay attention to the weather after the eclipse. If the worst case scenarios verify in terms of there being traffic galore, we need folks to understand that you might have some issues with severe storms a few hours after the eclipse, with big hail, strong winds, and the potential for tornadoes. Okay, we don't need any sort of spinny doom mischief hidden a gridlocked highway or roadway. That's not typically a worst case scenario for northeast Texas. That's something we worry about if there's a tornado rolling through the DFW Metroplex or, something like that. We don't need that emulation in the middle of rural northeast Texas, parts of northeast Texas. So let's just keep that in mind tomorrow. You're going to want to remain weather aware. Now, let's look at the severe weather outlooks from the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow. This is currently the latest outlook. We'll get an update around 12:30 p.m. At this point, the potential for scattered thunderstorms Monday afternoon, beginning maybe 3 to 4 p.m. Central Time across the Brazos Valley, East Texas, Northeast Texas, maybe Central Texas, and then expanding further northwest as the afternoon and evening progresses. Potential for multiple rounds of storms. This risk of severe weather includes the Edwards Plateau, the Concho Valley, the Permian Basin, especially the eastern Permian Basin, parts of west central Texas, northwest Texas, the Big Country, Texoma, North Texas, Central Texas, the Hill Country, the Brazos Valley, southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle around Beaumont and far southeast Texas, all of East Texas, all of northeast Texas, the Arklatex, even parts of, pretty much southern half of Oklahoma. And again, the most intense storms tomorrow have the potential of producing hail up to or larger than the size of a baseball, damaging winds 60 to 80 miles an hour, and the threat for tornadoes. Now, specifically, not all storms are going to be producing baseball-sized hail. That's the most intense storms. However, that would cause issues. Now, in terms of the current tornado risk potential, notice this risk graphic does not correlate directly to the overall risk for severe storms. There is going to be a locally relative higher threat of tornadoes where we have that warm front and a more tropical rich atmosphere across portions of central Texas, the Brazos Valley, and East Texas. There is some concerning trends in terms of data that would suggest the threat may be even higher than what is shown here, and thus we may see an upgrade in subsequent outlooks, an upgrade to medium tornado potential for some of these areas in the Brazos Valley up into East Texas. It's possible. So again, that's the current corridor of relative concern in terms of the highest threat for a few tornadoes tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. That being said, there is a very low threat, not zero, but very low threat for a tornado or two across the Concho Valley, the Big Country, northwest Texas, Texoma, southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle. And again, remember, any risk means there is the chance. So we're going to need to keep an eye out. But again, hail, probably going to be the most common issue tomorrow. Damaging winds? Yes. The potential for a few tornadoes at least? Yes. Could we have a higher risk of tornadoes develop? Yes, especially in the Brazos Valley, East Texas, maybe even parts of North Texas. We're going to have to watch trends closely. The low-level environment certainly is quite concerning in some data that would suggest the threat for tornadoes would be problematic. We'll watch it, though. Now, Tuesday, we're going to keep on going. Let's you know what? Here, let's do this. Let's take a look at the Tuesday timing. This is the North American model as we go into Tuesday. More thunderstorms as the overall setup doesn't really change. The upper level jet stream's kind of blocked for moving the system out, so it's still going to be sitting overhead, providing a lot of lift, providing the wind shear necessary. We're going to have a lot of instability and tropical moisture flowing in from the Gulf of Mexico, with southeasterly winds both at the surface and the low levels of the atmosphere, helping to rejuvenate and re-energize the atmosphere behind ongoing thunderstorms. So this will not be a one-and-done situation. Multiple rounds of thunderstorms are expected Monday afternoon, Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, with the threat of severe thunderstorms finally exiting East Texas and the Arklatex, probably at this point around lunchtime Wednesday, as that activity moves east into Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and eventually the southeastern United States later Wednesday and Thursday. We may still have scattered showers and storms, although more tame comparatively, wrapping around the backside of the storm system Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, maybe even Thursday morning across portions of the Panhandle, West Texas, Northwest Texas, North Texas, the Arklatex. And while I'm talking about severe weather potential, we're going to have to deal with flooding as well. We're going to get to that in a moment. So again, we're going to be busy. In terms of the severe weather outlook for Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, pretty much the same areas as tomorrow, except it also expands into portions of South Texas, the coastal plains, all of Southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle. And again, Tuesday may be a little messier of a storm mode. When I say messier, that means we may just have more storms. We may not have as many discrete or semi-discrete supercells necessarily out by themselves, but I want to emphasize, you don't need them to be completely, out by their lonesome to be problematic. We're probably going to have a lot of clusters of storms, little squall lines per se, and we could have hail, damaging winds, and the potential for a few tornadoes. We'll refine each specific hazard as we get a bit closer to Tuesday and Wednesday morning, because what happens tomorrow will play a role in what happens on Tuesday. But again, I emphasize, we're going to have a lot of moisture, a lot of instability, and as long as this system overhead isn't leaving, we're going to be able to keep just re-energizing the atmosphere pretty quickly. So that is why we're going to be dealing with multiple rounds of heavy rain, thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms. Does this mean everyone's going to be getting hit with thunderstorms? No. Does this mean everyone's going to be getting softball-sized hail at their home? No, most folks won't. Does this mean we're going to have dozens and dozens and dozens of tornadoes and, hurricane force winds in a derecho? No. Though I emphasize, it only takes one tornado coming down your street to make it a real bad day for you. So that's why you're going to want to pay attention. It's spring. Is it possible tomorrow and Tuesday see higher severe weather risk levels introduced? Probably, honestly. But again, any risk level means you have a threat for mischief in your vicinity. These risk levels are based off the probability of a severe thunderstorm within 25 miles of your location. That level 1 risk, that's the lowest risk level, that's about a 5% chance in your immediate area, so 1 in 20 chance. The level 2 risk, that's about a 1 in 6 chance. Level 3, that gets you to 1 in 3 chance, about a 30% probability of a severe storm within 25 miles of your location. A level 4 risk, usually about 45% chance, so 1 in 2. And then the level 5, which you never want to see and is quite rare in itself, that's closer to 50 to 60%. And that's just when that's never a good thing. So, again, we'll keep an eye on it, but after the eclipse tomorrow, we're going to get real busy in the weather department, and it's going to stay busy for a couple days. Now, let's talk wildfire danger. Fire weather is severe weather. Western half of the state today, extreme fire weather danger from the Texas A&M Forest Service. It's not going to be as windy today, but we're going to have very dry air behind that Pacific cool front. West-northwest winds maybe at 30 miles an hour at times. With the last several days of fuel curing, the fuel dryness levels, things are going to get rowdy if we get fires today, even with comparatively less wind. So the Panhandle, West Texas, Northwest Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley, even parts of the Hill Country, the Edwards Plateau, the Permian Basin, the Big Bend, Guadalupe Davis Mounds, borderland far west Texas. Heads up. Tomorrow, with that dry line being further west, that'll keep the fire danger further west, still encompassing the Panhandle, West Texas, the Permian Basin, the Big Bend, the borderland far west Texas. And then on Tuesday, we're going to see precipitation chances expand into West Texas, the Panhandle, so that the highest fire danger will be confined to the Permian Basin, the Big Country, the Edwards Plateau, the Big Bend region, southwest Texas, the Davis-Guadalupe Mountains, far west Texas, the borderland around El Paso. All right, let's take a look at forecast rain totals. This is going to be a problem as well, and this may become a significant issue, as the severe weather threat may very well be. The potential for, at this point, 3 to 6 inches of rain. Texoma, North Texas, Northeast Texas, the Arklatex, East Texas, into parts of the Golden Triangle. Localized rainfall amounts over 8 inches are possible. The threat of significant flash flooding may become quite a common issue as we get into Tuesday. Although we could have flash flooding underway by tomorrow if we get some of these heavy storms just rolling over the same areas. Again, we're going to have tropical moisture in place, reminiscent of July and August. These things are going to be producing hourly rainfalls where they at least sit for a while over 3 inches. So with multiple rounds of storms, yeah, we're going to have some pretty substantial rainfall totals across the region. Now, here's some good news for folks that actually need the rain farther west. Southeastern Texas Panhandle, especially as you come off the Caprock, west central Texas, northwest Texas, Texoma, we're looking at 1 to 3 inches of rain out of this. Amarillo, you could get almost an inch of rain. Lubbock, let's just say half an inch to 2 inches of rain. Plainview to Childress, 1 to 3. Wichita Falls, 1 to 3. The DFW Metroplex up to Sherman, we're looking at this point, 2 to 4, maybe 5 inches of rain locally. Yeah, that'll cause flash flooding. Same for Waco, College Station, Houston, Beaumont. Now, further southwest, we could see at least a 1/4 inch of rain. Let's just go from Andrews to Sweetwater to San Angelo, all the way down towards, let's just say at this point, Uvalde, maybe a bit further west than that, to San Antonio, to Victoria, to the Gulf Coast, all of southeast Texas. So the southwestern third of the state's really going to miss out on this rain, it looks like, and that's why we're going to have higher fire danger, and it's going to stay warm with temperatures in the 80s and 90s. Not as much the northeastern 2/3 of the state, where temperatures, at least in the afternoon, will be in the 70s mostly. Cooler in the Panhandle, but further southeast where you have tropical moisture, it will be quite warm, quite humid. And again, at this point, it looks like rain chances should be ending mostly Wednesday, if some of the slower data is right, Thursday morning. And then it looks like we should have several days of dry weather. The weekend's looking okay at this point. And then maybe another storm system rolling in maybe in about 8 days. So that's going to be it for your Texas Weather Roundup today. I really didn't want to make this another 20+ minute video, but it kind of just happened. So the plan here is for another video to be out sometime during the late afternoon hours today, with Eclipse focused content, of course, but also having to deal with severe weather and heavy rain flooding potential. For me personally, if it looks like we're going to have some clearing in North Texas, I may make a little journey, which means this video this afternoon may be from this office or maybe from a random hotel room. We'll see. Or a car. I mean, it might be a car. Who knows? But if we're having to do tornado coverage tomorrow afternoon and evening, which I think we're probably going to, and it kind of opens a dilemma for me, because if I'm out traveling trying to get back to this office and there's heavy traffic, that could be a conundrum. So might have to do a little risk taking in that department, but we'll see. So y'all aren't the only ones in the boat of trying to figure out what you want to do for this eclipse, or if you want to go out and see it. I mean, once a generation, yeah. For what it's worth, we're going to have another one of these in portions of Kansas, Oklahoma, I think Arkansas, in about, 20-something years. So, yeah, once a generation. So, if you can see it, I'd try to see it. But some of us don't have that option. We'll see. All right, you can get your local weather forecast, interactive weather radars, these weather roundup updates, severe weather coverage when necessary, and more in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. It's not just storm chasing videos and these videos. You literally can get your local weather forecast and track storms on your own. That's why we provide the app. And as always, thank you to all those hitting that big old super-de-duper thumbs up button on YouTube. It really helps us with the algorithm. And hey, you want more Texas weather forecasts? We do these on a daily basis, typically not on the weekends, but that's usually when Mother Nature wants us to work. So you can hit subscribe to Texas Weather Center on YouTube, and of course, head over to TexasStormChasers.com for all the content too. All right, this video is almost 25 minutes. This is abhorrent. I apologize, but Mama Nature's being a troll, and we got to talk about it. So we'll chat with y'all again later this afternoon. Have a great Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon. God bless. Bye-bye.